These are the lecture notes for Overview of Body Systems, the topic that we're covering in week 10. So body systems are also called organ systems. In the human organism, in humans, we have 11 total organ systems. So there are 11 total organ systems. Let's try this again. Yeah, sometimes it just takes a little while to get it started. I don't know why. But just a reminder from Bio 111, an organ is a structure in the body that's made up of several different types of tissues. And those tissues work together to perform a specific function. So, for example, the heart and the brain and the liver are examples of organs. The heart contains epithelial tissue, which forms the outside and the inside lining of the heart. It contains connective tissue, muscle tissue, nervous tissue. And then when you have groups of organs that work together, for example, the heart and the blood vessels work together, this would be an organ system. So the cardiovascular system would be the organ system that the heart belongs to. Now, this table is a little bit, well, not this table, I'm sorry. It's another table coming up. This table's fine. So an example of an organ is the brain. And it tells you it has nervous, connective, and epithelial tissue. It doesn't have muscle tissue, which is the fourth tissue type. But it's a part of the nervous system and the endocrine system, which are both control systems. The skin is an organ. It's actually the largest organ of the body. And the skin is composed of all four tissue types. And the organ system it belongs to is the integumentary system. The stomach belongs to the digestive system. The sternum or breastbone belongs to the skeletal system. The immune system, because the bone marrow produces the cells of the immune system. And the cardiovascular system, because the sternum protects, I wouldn't say that. I'm going to cross through that. The sternum does not belong to the cardiovascular system, but it does protect the heart. It's the breastplate or the breastbone that does protect the heart, but I still wouldn't put it in the cardiovascular system. I just disagree with that. The kidney is part of the urinary system, or as it's going to be called, excretory system. Same thing as urinary system. That's going to be the kidneys and the bladder and the ureters and the urethra. Basically responsible for helping to maintain fluid balance and water and salt balance, and it's also responsible for getting rid of liquid waste. Okay, these are the organ systems. I told you there were 11, but they are missing the urinary or excretory system on here. And normally you count the nervous and the sensory systems, the special senses, together as one organ system. So that would be the nervous system, and the special senses would be organ system number 1, consisting of the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves. And then the endocrine system will consist of glands that produce hormones. The reproductive system, the male and female reproductive system, are going to consist of gonads, and which is ovaries and testes, and other reproductive organs. The cardiovascular system would be number 4, since the sensory goes with the nervous system. And that is the heart and the blood vessels. The respiratory is the lungs and the airways, like the trachea and the bronchi and the bronchioles. The immune system, or sometimes it's referred to as the lymphatic system, has some organs like the thymus, the tonsils, the spleen, as well as lymph nodes. The digestive system is going to include the digestive tract, which leads from the mouth all the way to the anus. And it's going to include the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine, gallbladder, and even the liver and the pancreas would be accessory organs. The muscular system is the skeletal muscles and the tendons that connect them to the bones. The skeletal system is bones and cartilage. And the integumentary system is the skin. And like I say, there are 11 body systems. The 11th one is the excretory system. I'm not going to write that again because I wrote it on the previous page, but I will go back. The excretory system is number 11. And that is the same as the urinary system. And now we have the list of the body systems. They're showing 12, but again, we put the nervous system and the sensory system. Oh, no, they don't have sensory system separate. They just have the male and the female reproductive systems. So, okay, so what we have is the nervous system, which is the brain, the spinal cord, and then all the nerves. The respiratory system, which is the lungs and the airways. The circulatory system, which is the heart and blood vessels. Digestive system is the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine, and then some organs like the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas. The excretory system is the same as the urinary system. Muscular system is referring to skeletal muscles that help us to move our body. And the skeletal system is our bones. Integumentary system is our skin, hair, and nails, and the glands that are found within our skin, like sweat glands and oil glands. The immune system is going to consist of the vessels here that are green are lymphatic vessels. The thymus, the spleen, the lymph nodes. Endocrine system is really spread out all over the body. The pituitary gland is found in the brain, along with the pineal gland. The thyroid gland is found in the neck area. The pancreas is found kind of behind the stomach. The adrenal glands are found sitting on top of the kidneys. And this is a man, so it would be testes, but in a woman it would be the ovaries. And then you have the reproductive systems, which you've got male and female reproductive systems shown there. So these organ systems function in maintaining homeostasis, or maintaining a constant balance of conditions within our cells. So that's the function of the organ systems. And some examples are control systems, like the cardiovascular. Well, actually, just forget that. Forget that I said that. Some of the examples of organ systems and how they help us maintain homeostasis are cardiovascular system, the urinary system, and the lymphatic systems. They help control water balance. The cardiovascular, integumentary system, respiratory, and muscular systems help with maintaining temperature, body temperature. Endocrine system controls things like regulating blood calcium, blood glucose levels, and different things like that. Here's an example of negative feedback, which is a process that helps our body maintain homeostasis. And this is an example of regulating the level of calcium ions in the blood. So this process is one example of negative feedback. Okay, so we're regulating calcium ions in the blood. Calcium ions are used by muscle tissue, so they're important in the heartbeat. They're important in muscle contractions, activating enzymes and communication between cells. So when calcium ions, the levels of calcium ions are too low or too high. They're not in the normal range. it can actually lead to death. If you just look at the way that calcium affects muscle contraction, calcium ions being out of balance can lead to paralysis. So if your breathing muscles are paralyzed, you can't breathe. So that's just, one example of how important that they are. The glands of the endocrine system that help regulate the levels of calcium in the blood are the parathyroid and the thyroid glands. The parathyroid and the thyroid glands. What happens is the parathyroid glands will detect when calcium levels are low in the blood, and they will send signals to your skeletal system. Basically, bone tissue is broken down and calcium is released into the blood. The urinary system, instead of excreting calcium with your urine, when you go to the bathroom, the urinary system would cause the kidneys to hold on to the excess calcium and basically put it back into your bloodstream. And then the digestive system, the same way. Instead of the digestive system getting rid of that excess calcium, it's going to put that excess calcium back in your bloodstream. So the parathyroid glands, again, detect low blood calcium levels, and then they stimulate the skeletal, urinary, and digestive systems. And all of them work together to increase the blood calcium levels by putting calcium back into your blood. Blood glucose or blood sugar is regulated in a very similar way. The pancreas and the liver are the two organs that primarily work together to maintain blood glucose. If the levels of glucose in your blood are high, the pancreas releases insulin, and the insulin will help to lower the blood glucose. The liver will actually remove glucose from your blood and store it as glycogen. And the pancreas will release glucagon if your blood glucose levels are low. And this is if you don't eat. Most people, when they have low blood sugar or low blood glucose, that they get hungry and they eat something. But if they if they skip that meal, the pancreas will release glucagon. In a healthy person, the pancreas will release glucagon, which is opposite of insulin. And the glucagon will actually cause the liver to release glucose back into the blood, and that would raise the glucose levels back to normal. So both the pancreas and the liver work together to lower and raise blood glucose levels to keep those levels in normal range from being too high or too low. And then another thing is the nervous system and the digestive systems play a role in this as well. Like I say, if your glucose levels are low, you're going to get hunger signals, and that will cause you to eat, and that's going to raise your blood glucose levels. And those signals are going to come from your nervous system and your digestive system are going to interact when you do get hungry, and prompt you to feel that hunger and eat. Okay, so here is a picture of a diagram of the nervous system in the human body, and the yellow is the central nervous system, or CNS, and that includes the brain and the spinal cord. Now, the brain consists of the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brainstem, and then the spinal cord extends down through your vertebral column or spine. Then we've got these blue nerves. That is the peripheral nervous system, is all these nerves in blue. And then we have the endocrine system, which is another control system. The nervous and the endocrine system are control systems. They help control other body systems. The pineal gland is number 1. It releases melatonin to help you sleep. Number 2 is the pituitary gland, which has a large number of, there are like 9 hormones that are released by the pituitary gland. The thyroid gland releases thyroid hormones to help you with your metabolism. The thymus helps you with your immune system.